your opinions about the social of civil society organization in the HIV response globally and in Vietnam?
I think globally, we all know that there is not a single country that has been able to push back HIV/AIDS without civil society being involved. And in Vietnam, civil society has been very deeply involved, and recently we have signed a grant directly with what we call a principal recipient, which is VUSTA. Probably know what VUSTA is, and they are very efficient, and they are much more able, in a better position to reach the key population, the people living with HIV, the injecting drug users, the sex workers, and the men having sex with men. It's very difficult for the government to be directly in touch with those populations, but it's much easier for the civil society organization to be in contact with these populations. So the results are increasing, the impact is increasing. We're distributing condoms, we are distributing syringes through VUSTA, and we can see already that the impact is much higher. But what is good in Vietnam is that now the government and civil society are working together. And that's something that has been going on for a few years already in Vietnam. And this is why the results are much better than in countries, even in the region, where civil society and government do not work together. And you can see that in those cases, the infections are growing. Whereas in Vietnam, the epidemic seems to be under control. It's stabilized at a lower level, and that's because there is cooperation between the government and civil society organization. So Vietnam is a very good example on how things should be done.
Could you tell us any role model in another country that apply this price so
There are similar types of arrangements in Asia, because, for example, in Thailand or in Indonesia, the HIV epidemics has the same origins, whereas meaning people who inject drugs, sex work, and men having sex with men. If you go to countries like in South Africa, the profile of the epidemic is completely different. It's not driven by people who inject drug, it's not driven by MSM, it's a generalized epidemic. So if you look at, for example, if I compare two countries, if I compare South Africa, you have 500,000 new infections per year. In Vietnam, you have about 14,000 new infections per year, but the population of Vietnam is the double than that of South Africa. So then you can see the efficiency of the Vietnam national response. A population that is the double, but only 14,000 new infections, whereas it's 500,000 in South Africa, which has half of the population. So you can see that the interventions are well designed, well targeted, and this is again because the government has been putting in place the right policies, increasing methadone, syringe distribution, and it is doing that in concert with civil society organizations. So Vietnam is a sort of a model, and other countries could learn from Vietnam on how to do things right.
Do you think that it will be promised well that we will reach the target 1990 in the next 5 years?
As François Barré-Sanoussi said, it is a difficult task, but we have to be ambitious about the goals. And I think that, we have the scientific tools to push back HIV. We know what works, methadone, condoms, and we have the treatment, so we know what works. With the political will of Vietnam now, under the leadership of Bdmv, we really have a person that is in charge and is asking us when we meet, so how are you doing? He's really following up in details. He's really committed. So when you have political will, when you have, again, a government that can work with civil society organization, and with USAID and PEPFAR and the Global Fund, we are pooling our resources together so that we have coherent intervention. So it's going to be difficult, but I think not every country is going to be able to do it, but Vietnam can do it because it has the people, it has the political will, it has the scientists, and it has the openness. So I would say that not every country is going to make it, but if there is a country in Asia that can make it, it's probably going to be Vietnam. We will need to continue provide the funding, but I'm very hopeful.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
sharing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.